Good evening, NAESP members, state leaders, board of directors, and staff members. I would like to begin by conveying my sincere best wishes to my fellow NAESP Vice President nominee colleagues, Sharon McNair and Paul Winger. I greatly admire both of you and appreciate your leadership. My name is Julie Bloss, and although you may not know me personally, I hope that by the time I finish speaking this evening, you will know where I stand on important issues that principals face every day. This is a picture of my family after I attended NAESP conference in Orlando last summer. As you can see, we are crazy about Star Wars. This is a picture of my professional school family. We are crazy about students and learning. I serve as the principal at Grove Early Childhood Center in Grove, Oklahoma, where my husband Tracy works as a school resource officer, a patrol officer with the Grove Police Department. At the beginning of our marriage, I thought of our careers as two separate entities. My career is education. His career is law enforcement. Fast forward 30 years, and now our two careers intertwine in a way that I never could have anticipated. It seems like almost every day we hear in the media about another incident of violence in our schools. I recognize that there is no one solution to ending school violence, and each school is unique in its approach to school safety and security. I feel strongly that leading conversations about school safety and how we as NAESP members can assist elementary school students, sites, staff in being safeguarded is of paramount importance of our schools. In addition, helping to provide principals with security information, safety practices from across the spectrum, resources provided by government agencies, and other school districts is essential. According to the recently released 50th Annual Phi Delta Kappa poll of the public's attitudes toward the public schools, security concerns run high after a year marked by horrific school shootings, with just 27% of K-12 parents expressing strong confidence that their school could deter an attack like those that have wrenched communities across our nation. Reaching for solutions, parents overwhelmingly support armed police in schools, mental health screenings of all students, and metal detectors at entrances. Most interesting, when faced with a choice of spending money on armed guards in school or on mental health services for students, the public overwhelmingly prioritizes mental health services. We as principals know that acts of violence perpetrated in our schools oftentimes occur from children impacted by adverse childhood experiences as well as mental health issues. My role as a principal leader is to advocate for increased services to assist students and families in need of mental health assistance and to provide the proper supports for children in trauma. So how can one discipline a child impacted by adverse childhood experiences in the same way as a child who is fortunate not to be impacted by trauma? How do we give principals the necessary tools to be able to responsibly navigate this dilemma and provide the appropriate mental health services at school sites? These are huge issues and ones that I know cannot be solved in isolation. We, principals, need ongoing, relevant professional learning to navigate these compelling issues and others that impact our practice. Analyzing membership data to provide professional development opportunities with diversified formats and topics to meet membership interests and needs is of supreme importance. I feel confident in NAESP's ability to provide principals with what they need, and in my ability to work closely with the association in outreach to principals. My primary goal in attaining the office of NAESP Vice President is to serve as a vehicle for increasing hope and resiliency in the lives of children through my work with principals. With NAESP's support, I will work to equip principals to navigate and lessen the complex issues of school safety and mental health, while providing them the professional learning that they indicate will help them be successful in their job. My dream is to foster principal leadership that sends students on a pathway to a safe, healthy, and shining future. Thank you for your time this evening. Thank you for tirelessly advocating for your students' needs. And thank you for your support and consideration for my candidacy to be Vice President of the National Association of Elementary School Principals.
Well, thank you, Julie. At this time, we'll move into the question-answer part of the presentation. And Julie, you have 2 minutes to respond to the following question. The Pre-K-8 school leader in 2018, a 10-year study, indicated that the top concern for educators was addressing the needs of students with emotional issues. What advice would you recommend to principals regarding the social, emotional needs of students within our educational system? And what role does the principal play in encouraging trauma-informed approaches?
Thank you for that compelling question. First of all, I'd just like to share that research indicates that children in trauma function at half of their age. 80% of children in trauma have sensory integration issues, and children in trauma prefer feeling aggression as opposed to vulnerability. Only 40% of children in our schools right now are not in trauma. My advice to principals may sound simple, and I know that you know that it isn't. It's time-consuming. It takes a lot of effort to become trauma-informed, and I don't believe that that work is truly ever complete. First of all, schools must build relationships with students. We must know our students, their stories, their hopes, their dreams, and certainly their needs. Students must be more than data and certainly more than a number. When working with a child in trauma, we must ask, what has happened to this child? Not what is wrong with this child. We must lead our staff to the journey in answering that question together. Principals must be in action, constantly modeling how to connect, how to praise, how to build trust with our students. Our schools must make it a practice to allow students the opportunity to de-escalate and regulate before attempting to solve behavior issues at hand. Problem solving cannot happen in the moment of fit-throwing, arguing, and defiant behavior. We must remember that behavior is never about the current issue. We must listen and value student voice, ask and determine how to help, and respond with empathy. We must share power by giving choices, ignoring no's and offering yeses, asking for compromise, and problem solving together. And if I could leave you with one statement, it would be this: discipline is to teach, not to punish. We should be using consequences that keep our students in school and foster the building of trust and safety. Thank you.
All righty, thank you, Julie. And now we'll move on to the second question, which Julie will select randomly. Again, the candidates do not know these specific questions, only the nature of them. Alrighty, the question is, would you please share your thoughts in regard to how we can create a stronger principal pipeline?
I have that bag. I might need a report today. Visual learner. How can we create a stronger principal pipeline? Give that a thought for a second. There's a big difference between a manager and a leader. A leader has people that follows them. A manager has people who answers to them. And we are leaders. Principals are leaders. We should not only be leading our staff and leading our students in learning, but I don't know about your state. There's a great shortage of teachers and principals in my state in Oklahoma. And it is only going to get better in my state and probably across the map if we begin growing our own principals. And that means investing in leadership in those teachers that we see who have leadership ability. We have to have a shared vision and invest in those that we see that have that potential of being a great leader. We must share leadership in our buildings and give those responsibilities to everyone anyway. We can't possibly do all of the work that has to be done in our schools by ourselves. So I would say creating the pipeline is beginning there by sharing responsibilities and allowing our amazing teachers to lead, and then growing our own principals in that way.